Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
You may be seated. The message today will be from the book of Genesis. In Genesis verses 1 and 2, there are two creation accounts. The first is the majestic horn, whose meter and verse we shall have known since our childhood. God created the heavens, created the earth. The earth was formless, void, and the darkness covered the face of the deep. Later we read the account how God in the garden forms the first human. God's fingerprints have covered us from the start. Forever since we stained God's sounds, God breathed divine breath into the little man, and there was life as bright as the light. But Adam was lonely, a lonely soul, until God made Eve. Now we have today the third creation account, the forming of the holy people Israel. The story begins in Genesis 12, when God first appeared to Abram with the promise of land and offsprings, and the benediction that Abram's soon-to-be extended family would be a blessing for the entire world. God would give the nomad Abram land. God would give the aging and childless Abram and Sarai children. God would make them a blessing to others when in many ways they were without blessing themselves. Abram did what God told him, went towards the land, and the promise waited. We do not know how much time had passed since Genesis 12, but when God appears in Genesis 15, God's first words are, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield." This word, of all possible words, is what God chooses to speak. Is indication that in fact Abram is already afraid, that he needs a shield. Then the writer of Genesis writes, Abram believed the Lord, which is to say Abram trusted God's outrageous promises. The promise in chapter 12 and renewed promises here in chapter 15. And the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. It is a crucial moment for Abram, Israel, the world, and indeed as evidenced by Paul's citation in the Romans, for the church's confession of faith as well. But even righteousness has questions and doubts. So shall your descendants be, God said to Abram as he gazed up to the stars. I give you this land to possess. Abram replied, but how am I to know that I shall possess it? Suggesting that in Genesis 15, even as God does that famous, fateful accounting regarding Abram, the patriarch is doing some accounting of his own and fears the red ink he sees. The years are adding up. After all, he and Sarai are withering away. Yes, they are. in the new land. But whatever God means by possessing it, they surely don't. God has given them little else, and least of all, children, offspring, sons, as the foundation of this great nation. There was not a glint in Sarai's dimming eyes. And a slave born in Abraham's house, Eliezer of Damascus, was Father Abraham's beneficiary. However long it has been since Abram's original vision, time enough has passed from Abram to have his doubts. What or who can shield him? His wife? Even the promises themselves? From old age? Abram has faith. Abram has faith, but he also has questions. Any army of information encamped against the near outpost of God's pledge. We now have the privilege to witness one of the most mysterious and ancient of rituals, the ratification of the covenant. It is such a strange scene. God commands Abram to slaughter and enrage dismembered pieces of heifers and goats, rams, and uncloven birds into a kind of a pathway, a line in the wilderness sand where God will sign. Birds of prey, surely the most unpleasant of the creatures, descend like agents of doom onto the carcasses to disrupt the moment, devour the promises. But if all that is mysterious to us, what do the animals signify other than prefiguring temple sacrifices? Does this ritual have a uniqueness to it? For Abram, it was a terrifying experience. And when the sun had gone down, Abram fell into deep sleep and had night terrors as the Lord, in the form of a smoking fire pot and flaming torch, passed between the pieces. This time, God does not tell Abram to fear not, as if to suggest that there are times when fear is an appropriate attitude as we encounter God. This is God. This is God, after all, who binds a divine presence to Abram. And the rest of us, by grace and not by right, by choice and not by distress. To your descendants I give this land, God says yet again in 15:18, but there is still that matter of children. Soon will come unhappiness with Hagar and her son Israel. But for now, Abram and Sarai trust what God has told them. This is their best moment as they believe against the unavailable information. And surely God never loved them more. For God too believes against the information. Trust that this old groom and his shriveled bride can do what he has called them to do. Possess the land. Have the children. bless the world. It is the kind of divine trust we account to God as righteousness, even as God seems to continue to call us to go, to do, to be what God alone can make us. It's been a difficult week. Trust God. Trust God. Let us pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. To accept and share the blessings of God, our Creator. Embrace the unending love and hope of our Redeemer. Know that the fellowship of the Spirit will be with you each step of your journey. We do this in Jesus' name. Amen.